Councilors, please take their seats. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the public session. We do have several speakers this evening who would like to address the Assembly. Simple rules. We simply ask that you give us your name and your address and tell us what's on your mind. Try to keep it within 5 minutes. The first speaker is Mike Goldich. Mr. Goldich.
Your Honor, good evening. Councilors, good evening. I'm here to advise you not to change the city worker residency requirements. Do not restrict them to live within the city. We live in a community that's alive and vibrant, and it's no longer set by the lines that were drawn by the horse and buggy. In 1976, when I was on the City Charter Commission, a Democratic mayor foresaw the day when there was very much a dearth of lawyers registered as Democrats, and we had to change in that Charter Commission, change the residency requirements for the city attorney so that we could hire Gay Williams or someone like her who lived in an adjacent community. So it just, from that time on, to me, it makes no sense. Don't limit our ability to pick the best people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldich. The next speaker is Donald Cram. Mr. Cram.
Hi, good evening. My name is Donald Cram. I'm a fourth-year resident in the city. I lived first in the 2nd Ward, and now I live in the 4th Ward at 104 East 5th Street, and I bought a property in the 6th Ward. And I also want to speak about the city residency law that I understand will be under some further discussion for change maybe, but I wanted to speak against it as a practice and maybe suggest something in favor of an alternative that might be a little bit less forceful and a little bit more fun. If you don't mind, I want to share that I worked for New York City government a long time ago and was subject to a city residency requirement. And in my case, that worked really well. I was coming from far away, and the residency requirement made me live in the city. I was working in downtown New York. It made me live in the city and experience the city's for better or for worse. And I lived in Brooklyn, and I didn't even consider living across the river in New Jersey, which might have been an alternative. And that kind of situation, that was actually only for employees of underneath the mayor's office. They were discretionary employees only were subject to this, not police or fire, and not any of the civil service employees. And for discretionary positions, I think that could be a good practice to have the residency requirement, but I think not here so much. Here in Oswego, I think if somebody lives just the other side of City Line Road or something, it's not going to make a difference about whether they experience Oswego or not. Many people who would be a candidate for a position, like they've got lots of ties in the community, and they'll go to the same hospital, shop in the same places, and so on. And it's not a matter of providing, ensuring that they're going to get the experience of living in the city. One other thing I wanted to point out is related to affordability. I also lived in Los Angeles, California, near the city of Pasadena. And in Pasadena, the big problem was that city employees couldn't afford to live in the city. Like, property values went up so much. Not firemen, not policemen, not teachers, or anybody could really afford to live in the city any longer. And in Oswego, you might not think that affordability is so much of an issue. You could find places to live in the city. But I think that it probably can be an issue for somebody who's staying at home and maybe taking care of other persons in their household, parents or whoever else. And it would be a hardship to actually go through the disruption of actually having to move just to qualify for a job that they might otherwise get. I'll just sort of pause on the suggestion that I have would be, why not provide a lesser incentive, more of a carrot rather than a stick, and say perhaps a new employee is given a small monetary amount, I don't know, $100, a couple $100, to choose to, if they choose to live in the city. And even if some current employee who's living outside moves in, you could give the same kind of incentive and sort of celebrate people moving in and give them a small incentive, but not make it be the big stick of requiring city employment. And yes, I guess we'll stop with that. I think a much lesser incentive makes sense instead of something that's way too strong. I'll start with.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who'd like to make any comments this evening? Yes.
Good evening. I'm not really going to speak for or against it. I think what I would like to say, and I'm going to sound like a broken record at times, I would like people to choose to live in the city instead of forcing them to live in the city. I think if we improve the quality of our neighborhoods and our housing stock, we will find that people that work in the city are going to want to live here, just like everybody else. So my encouragement would be for us to look at ways of improving our neighborhoods and continuing along that way and making people want to live here. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? If there's no one else responding, I will adjourn the public session. The regular session will begin at 7:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
His Honor the Mayor.
Here.
Councilor Enright.
Here.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Here.
Councilor Todd. Councilor Walker. Councilor Barlow.
Here.
Councilor Van Buren.
Here.
Councilor Kaplowitz.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under the mayor's report, I do have, I'd like to welcome Dr. Bob Schaefer and Dr. Patrick Madden this evening. They are local dentists who are here to present the city of Oswego with a plaque from the New York State Dental Association in recognition of 55 years of providing water fluoridation to our citizens. I believe Brian Folgerate, our plant manager, is here as well. If you want to come up, gentlemen. You want to say a few words, and then I'll present the plaque to you? Is that it? Or?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Mayor Gillen, councilors, thank you for this opportunity. And as the mayor said, on behalf of the New York State Dental Association, the New York State Dental Foundation, we're here to present the city with a plaque, and it's my pleasure to present Dr. Patrick Madden, who is the Oswego County Dental Society president. He has a few words to share.
Thank you, Dr. Shaver. Dr. Madden.
Good evening. This year marks the 70th anniversary of public fluoridation since Grand Rapids, Michigan first fluoridated their water supply in 1945. Today, dental caries remains the most prevalent chronic disease in both children and adults. This is why active management of optimal fluoride levels in public water has long been advocated by almost every major health organization, such as the American Dental Association, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association, and the World Health Organization. Studies have shown that water fluoridation reduces cavities by at least 25% in children and adults. Although important, fluoride's benefits extend beyond mere cavity prevention. In communities without fluoridation, young children are up to 3 times more likely to encounter a dental infection requiring hospitalization and oral surgery. To put it in an economic perspective, the lifetime cost of fluoridation per individual is typically less than the cost of a single dental filling. It is no wonder that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention touts community water fluoridation as one of the 10 great public health achievements of the 20th century. Despite 70 years of successful implementation, an abundance of scientific evidence that proves its safety and effectiveness, and the endorsement by numerous major health organizations, fluoridation often remains the target of unfounded skepticism and sometimes well-organized opposition from the general public. It is in this light that we would like to thank the City of Oswego for their continued commitment to water fluoridation for the past 55 years. It is your careful consideration of scientific evidence in developing public health policy that has resulted in a tremendous benefit to the community you serve. We hope that the City of Oswego continues to serve as a positive example to other smaller water authorities within the county. Additionally, we offer ourselves as your partners in public health and a source of support in the event that fluoridation again comes under public scrutiny. Once again, thank you. On behalf of all dentists in Oswego County, we commend your efforts.
Here we'll have it done in here, and we've got a photographer here.
For the record, there is no.
Yeah, dude, talk a second. Come see you behind. Nice meeting you. Thanks for this, by the way. Ryan, thanks for what you did. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming this evening. Appreciate it. I don't have any comments from my side just yet, but I will open it up to the counselors if there's any reports or observations, comments they would like to make. Is there any? Counselor Todd.
I'd like to start off by thanking two people, Councilor Van Buren, Councilor Barlow, the mayor, as well as legislators Tressler, Mulcahy, and Bravo for taking the time the last 3 or 4 weeks and move this Coleman building debacle to try and make sure that we were able to get the building back. After a lot of negotiations, that was going to happen today. Everybody is aware we are getting the building back. However, the people involved have been able to negotiate this with a significantly lower cost to taxpayers than what we ended up getting it back for. I'm trying to find out if somebody can offer me up an explanation why for the last, year and a half, no matter how many times we criticize or beg that our community development director stop speaking for the council and mayor's office, that she's able to stand in a meeting, raise her hand, and object to the whole process, and make it so that we have to pay more money to get the property back than what the legislature, the council, and the mayor negotiated for. I'm just curious how she gets to speak for us. If it were up to me, for the remainder of the time, since I see that she notified the city she's retiring, I would have her sit over there and not speak to the city at all anymore, in any capacity. And that anything she needed to sign off on went to the council president and the mayor's office before approval, before she did anything, whether it be payroll or just a parking tax for somebody to come out. Because evidently, we can't get anything right here when it comes to the Coleman building and how we do this. So I'm just looking for an explanation from somebody on how that happened. Anybody want to say?
I can comment. There's no excuse for that. And I think that this administration has, on every level, the entire council, my office, have tried to do as much with as little as possible. And I agree with Councilor Todd that when she speaks for the city, she should speak for our opinions in the council and the mayor's office. So although it wasn't a lot of money, it was still, the fact is that the people of Oswego shouldn't have to pay more than was necessary. So I will continue that dialogue, whether it's fruitful or not, I don't know. But this particular event is over with, the Coleman Building. We were able to take that back. So I appreciate Councilor Todd's comments. Is there anyone else who'd like to make any statements, comments, or remarks? Okay, seeing none, then I would ask the clerk to please call Resolution 143.
Resolution 143 would approve the minutes of the Common Council meeting held April 13th, 2015.
Councilor Van Buren and Councilor McLaughlin. Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Yes. Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Cap?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 144.
Resolution 144 would appoint Commissioner of Deeds.
Councilor Capelitz, Councilor Barlow. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Yes. Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 145.
Resolution 145 would approve the use of public space at the request of Ann Backer, owner of Taste of the World at Canal Commons, in order to close West First Street between Westbridge and Oneida Street on Sunday afternoons during the months of May through July for the Mugs and Motors Community Car Show.
Councilor Todd and Councilor Enright. Any discussion? Councilor Todd.
Commissioner Smith, I mean, we talked about this in committee. Again, just can we make sure that that street's not closed down before 1? It came up as an issue a couple times last year. This is a great event, but just we make sure at 1 o'clock, because we've got a couple businesses that are open till then. That's their only issue, and if that's taken care of, they're all in favor of it. Thank you.
Councilor Enright.
Yeah, I see Ann Backer here in the audience, and I'd like to thank her for taking the lead on this. I know I'm going to enjoy it, and it's good to see something happen to draw the people downtown on Sunday, so I want to thank her for those efforts.
Thanks, sir. Any other comments? I'd also like to thank Ann for everything she's done. It's changed downtown, particularly on a Sunday afternoon. And it's added some more vitality and life, and it's another example of how the city is turning itself around thanks to the people out there who are working so hard to make it happen. So thank you again, and I encourage everyone to go and have some mugs and some motor viewing. So it's a wonderful event. If there's no other comments, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 146.
Resolution 146 would approve the use of public space in the city bandstand for the Veterans Council of Oswego to host the annual Memorial Day ceremony to be held Monday, May 25th, 2015.
Councilor Enright and Councilor Walker. Is there any discussion? Councilor Van Buren.
Thank you. I had the pleasure of speaking at this event a few years ago, and I just encourage anybody that has the chance to go down and see it. It's a great event to see our veterans and hear some of the stories and experiences that they have, so I encourage everyone to go down and check it out.
Thank you, sir. I'll second that as well. I've been lucky enough to go the last few years myself, and it's noticeable that how few people show up for it now. And part of them are the veterans themselves are getting older and are not showing up for these. And so it'd be nice to get up and show some support for people who gave up so much so that we could have so much. So I will be there again, and I encourage all the councilors to be there as well. If there's no other comments, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you. Please call Resolution 147.
Resolution 147 would approve the use of public space for 207, 209, 210, 212, 215, 217, and 219 East 7th Street for the installation of sidewalk level lamp posts and also a curb garden at 207 East 7th Street.
Okay, Councilor Kaplowitz and Councilor Walker. Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 148.
Resolution 148 would grant permission to the Greater Oswego Fulton Chamber of Commerce to use the Veterans Memorial Park for their summer concert series held on Friday evenings during the months of June through August.
Counselor Enright. Counselor McLaughlin. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 149.
Resolution 149 would grant a variance of the noise ordinance to Nicholas J. Serino, owner of the Lighthouse Lanes, located at 295 East Albany Street, in order to host their annual Super Summer Concert Series.
Counselor Van Buren and Counselor McLaughlin. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 150.
Resolution 150 would approve the amusement license for the 2015 racing events at the Oswego Speedway.
Counselor Walker, Counselor Barlow. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
I understand Resolution 151 has been pulled. So would you please call Resolution 152?
Resolution 152 would authorize the mayor to sign change order number 3 with Patricia Electric for project modifications to the West Side EF/MF and pump station upgrade project.
Counselor Enright and Counselor Kaplowitz. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 153.
Resolution 153 would authorize the mayor to sign change order number 5 with CO Falter Construction Corporations for project modifications to the West Side EF/MF and pump station upgrade project.
Counselor Enright and Counselor Walker. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 154.
Resolution 154 would authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 5 with GHD Consulting Engineers, LLC, for modifications to the professional services agreement regarding quarterly reports.
Counselor Van Buren. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 155.
Resolution 155 would approve a 2-year extension of the agreement with Larry's Oswego Salmon Shop for fish cleaning services at Wright's Landing.
Counselor Kaplowitz, Counselor Todd. Yes, Counselor Todd?
Speaking committee, your clarification on this, is this for both fish cleaning stations, or specifically just the one at Wright's Landing? Typically operates both.
Yes, Counselor Kaplowitz.
On that, I got from Monterey, it's really just the one station. It's just, yeah, but the other station may be open if need be, but, because he has his own clean station there as well, so.
So this would be for the one on West First. This one we're voting on would be for the one.
Wright's Landing.
Wright's
Oh, Wright's Landing, okay. Any other comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz? Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 156.
Resolution 156 would authorize the mayor to enter into an ambulance rental agreement with Northeastern Rescue Vehicles Incorporated.
Counselor Todd. Counselor Enright. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
No.
Counselor Barlow?
No.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz? Yes. Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
No.
The resolution passes 4-3.
Please call Resolution 157.
Resolution 157 would authorize a purchasing agent to purchase a single-tilt motor backhoe for use by the Department of Public Works.
Counselor Van Buren? Counselor McLaughlin? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz? Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 158.
Resolution 158 would authorize the purchasing agent to seek bids for pedestrian-activated traffic signal to be located on East First Street at the Harbor Rail Trail crossing.
Counselor Walker and Counselor Van Buren. Is there any discussion? Counselor Walker.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the police chief and his employees for really looking into this a little bit further. They found they can use CHIPS money for this, and hopefully we get this put in sooner than later.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz? Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 159.
Resolution 159 would approve a transfer of funds from within the Department of Public Works accounts.
Counselor Kaplowitz. Counselor McLaughlin. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker? Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 160.
Resolution 160 would approve attendance of the New York State DEC pesticide license course to be held May 7th, 2015 in Syracuse, New York, at the request of Michael J. Smith, Commissioner of Public Works.
Counselor Enright and Counselor McLaughlin. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 161.
Resolution 161 would approve attendance at the APA Northeast Planning Conference to be held June 24th through the 26th, 2015, in Saratoga Springs, New York, at the request of Amy Birdsall, Planning and Zoning Director.
Counselor Todd and Counselor Barlow. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 162.
Resolution 162 would waive the rules of the Common Council to present resolutions number 163 through 169 from the floor without committee consideration.
Counselor Van Buren and Counselor Todd. Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 163.
Resolution 163 would authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary for the sale of a portion of a paper street known as Church Street, which lies between Maple Street in the west and Elm Street on the east.
Counselor Van Buren and Counselor Walker. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 164.
Resolution 164 would authorize a public hearing regarding proposed local law number 4 of the year 2015, a local law amending Section C2-01 of the Charter of the City of Oswego, New York, with respect to city officers and employees.
Counselor Walker and Counselor McLaughlin. Is there any discussion? Counselor Kaplowitz.
Your Honor, I just speak very briefly to the issue at hand here, and public hearing will be scheduled for a couple of weeks, at which time we will then vote as a council and a city on this amended residency requirement. I thought we had a couple speakers tonight that spoke to the heart of, I think, what this whole issue is, and it sounds like from an observation standpoint, it certainly makes a great political statement to say that all city employees, that everybody who works for the city lives in the city. but in fact, because of civil service law and others, we create inequities in the system, whether it's sanitation or fire, or limitations that are placed on our police department, but those folks are not required to live in the city, but we're going to ask everybody else to do so. And I agree with several of the speakers, and I actually received another phone call today about this same issue, and just asking us to think long and hard about this residency requirement. It does serve as a determinant to recruitment. We could have some situations where individuals may choose not to live in the city. I find it a little ironic that we're asking, as a government, we're going to impose this need to live in the city, and I don't think the city really need to be going that direction. Enough government in our lives in the city, and this kind of imposed would be farther. There are hardship situations, and one speaker spoke, talked about what if you have an individual who's taking care of their mother and father in some surrounding town, and we have to, they're required, they work for the city, they're a great candidate, we have to make them live here. So they set up an apartment or a post office box, and now God knows over the years, as personnel's had to investigate a number of these issues in the past, and we have to police these things. And to me, it's a waste of our time and our manpower to be spending time doing that stuff. I agree. If we want to encourage people to live here, I think we need to improve our housing stock. That encourages people to live here. But some folks that like living in the country bring them in the city, and it's a little bit of a tough place to be. And I think you ought to give them a right to live in the country. But I'd like to see our little things, for example, offer loans with low interest loans, buy homes. This is a way to do this, and with the same objectives without regulation. I'll support the resolution, the amendment to the resolution. Everyone has a sense of where I stand on this, and I'm going to work hard to talk to the other councils to hopefully get them to understand what I think is not great police, but I'm sure it works in the practical sense. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walker.
I'd just like to ask you, if there was a $40,000 to $60,000 a year job, would you like to move into this city for one? Most people would. And the taxpayers pay that salary. I believe they should live in this city if they're getting paid by the taxpayers. Thank you.
And I would say that to that, Counselor, I agree. And I said, politically it sounds great, but if I wanted to work at Novellis, Novellis said I had to work within 10 miles of the plant, I might think differently about whether or not I wanted to work for that company. If I'm that good and that talented and have that kind of marketability, I might want to choose where I want to work. But if somebody else doesn't live in that home, if that city employee doesn't live in that home, somebody else is going to live there, still pay the taxes on it. You're still going to have, you're not losing anything from that standpoint. And I think, again, if we have a great housing stock and other places to spend our money, I think folks will stay here. Ask the college how well it's working for them, having folks live in the area.
Councilor Walker.
You can't use Novellis. It's a private sector.
I know.
We are not a private sector.
Absolutely.
We can make our rules.
And I'd say government shouldn't be making rules, not these kind of rules.
We got to have rules. Everybody has rules. If you follow the rules that we have, we aren't now.
If I may.
Councilor Kaplowitz.
If I may, editorial in the Pal Times about a week ago about government and how much they're involved. Yes, we have rules, and the little kid that taped his boxes up in front of his lawn, and it wasn't here, it was another community, but because he taped boxes and put them in front of his lawn, and they stayed there for a few extra days, the neighbors didn't like it. Well, the city code says you can't have that kind of stuff in your front lawn. And to me, that's, what are we trying to do with the laws that we're creating? And it was an innocent, making a playhouse for a little kid that turned into something more than it should have, but now we have to spend city taxpayer dollars fixing it up. I just think that folks need to be accountable for their own actions, and when we can disengage ourselves as a government in the lives of as many as we can, that's what our course of action should be. Thank you.
Finally.
I just want to let Councilor Kepwick know he's not alone on the stand. I also feel the same way. I think that if you want people to come and live in the city, then let's do something to entice them to live here I don't want to strong-arm someone to come and live here. Let's make it attractive. If we have property that comes up and we have, that we get over in tax foreclosures, then maybe we can make a deal, offer it up to some young family that wants to relocate in the city. Those are the kind of incentives, but not just to require them to come in here. I don't think we need any more troops that are going to man the wall. They're going to, to fend off the attackers, back in the 17th century. What we need is people that are willing to live in here, and their civic pride comes from the fact that, they're participating in what we're trying to do. If we want to attract people, let's spend the money on the code enforcement. Let's make this city attractive. Let's clean up some of these depressed areas down here so people want to come in here. That's the kind of attitude I want for people coming in here, not because we're forcing them to come in here. And what's the group of people that we're even talking about? I mean, we're not talking about some of the biggest employers we got. We're not talking about the fire department and the police department. We're talking about some of the people here that live in, and work in City Hall. It's a smaller group. So I'm for the fact that let's try to improve the city. Let's do our part to attract them in here. And I thank Councilor Kaplan for speaking out. But I see Councilor Walker's point. And it's just a different opinion on how I want to approach it. Thank you.
Councilor Todd.
In principle, I agree with you completely. But at the same time, especially since I've been on this council, there's the argument made the difference between private sector and public sector employees. Private sector employees are really no different than public sector employees. They've all got the same rights. They all live in the same country. They're all doing a job. The city, the government, the taxpayers say we need to do. They need police, they need fire. And trying to minimize their rights or the ability to force them to come in here and live. You just think you got a right to live and pick where you want to live. Pick the school district you want. You got a family house that you inherited from your parents. It's been in your family 150 years. You want to stay there. I completely agree with the premise of what you're trying to do. Completely agree. But at the same time, I think I've said this for 4 years in the council. People have a right to live where they want to live. And if people choose not to live here based on, our quality of housing, what our school district is, the rate of our taxes, well, that's just on us. We either need to improve our neighborhoods, we need to improve our quality of life, we need to improve our school districts to make it so that people want to come here and live. I think that the city's making strides to push in that direction. We have a number of organizations in the city now and a number of people that are working to push it that way to make this an area that we want to live in. But forcing people to live here, I think it minimizes all the hard work that the public, that the employees that work for the city do. I say that would be different than a private sector employee. I mean, I don't know. I see your point. I just think people have a right to live where they want to live.
Councilor Walker.
I understand what you're saying, but forcing people, we're not forcing anybody to live here. We're going to give them a job. Most people that are applying for it get the city residents first. And then if you want to go on the outside, yes, you must move in the city within 8 months. There is enough city residents here that need a job, that will work for a job, will stay living in the city. Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilor Todd.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Barlow.
Yes.
Councilor Van Buren.
Yes.
Councilor Kaplowitz.
Yes.
Councilor Enright.
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 165.
Resolution 165 would approve a solid waste license for the year 2015.
Councilor Todd. Councilor Walker. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilor Todd.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Barlow. Yes. Councilor Van Buren.
Yes.
Councilor Kaplowitz.
Yes.
Councilor Enright.
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 166.
Resolution 166 would grant exception of the peddling and soliciting ordinance for the market to be held in conjunction with Mugs and Motors event on first and third Sundays during the months of May through July.
Counselor Enright? Counselor McLaughlin? Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Yes. Counselor Walker? Yes. Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
I'm a member of the Port City Co-op, so I'd abstain.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 6-0 with one abstention.
Please call Resolution 167.
Resolution 167 would accept a donation from the Richard S. Shinneman Foundation for Project Bloom.
Counselor Todd? Counselor Enright? Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Yes. Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 167.
Resolution 168 would
168.
authorize the mayor to sign all documents necessary to submit a proposal for a Stage 1 feasibility project with NYSERDA.
Counselor Todd? Counselor Kaplowitz? Is there any discussion? Counselor Enright?
This feasibility study is the beginning parts of actually researching us forming, or NRG forming a microgrid that in case of an emergency, say we have an ice storm or loss of power, that this grid will be able to isolate itself from the rest of the power grid and provide valuable power to services like the hospital, the water pumping station, the police station, and that sort of thing. So this is a very good proposal. I hope to see this happen. And again, this is for the feasibility study to look into this. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Any other comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Yes. Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Please call Resolution 169.
Resolution 169 would approve an appointment of Nick Canale and Adam Avery to the 2015 Reapportionment Committee.
Counselor Van Buren? You have a second? Counselor Barlow? Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Yes. Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow?
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
No.
The resolution passes 6-1.
Is there any unfinished business this evening? Make a motion to
Move to adjourn, Your Honor.
Counselor Kaplowitz, I have a second. Counselor Enright? Please call the roll.
Counselor Todd? Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Barlow? Yes. Counselor Van Buren?
Yes.
Counselor Kaplowitz?
Yes.
Counselor Enright?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
The motion passes 7-0.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Because I waited the weekend to get suggestions from you guys. For Nate to send out an email asking for suggestions for everyone for names and then to consensus.